It's 2021 on Comic Book Canon. That's right, New Year. We are back on Friday. Thank you all for joining us during the holidays. We are super psyched to be here for this very first show of 2021, and I always do it with my good friend and partner in crime, Christopher. Chris, how you doing? 2021 off to a great start already. We have some tech issues here. As you can see, Chris has been having some problems with his internet, but I bet you he will be back. So, that being said, we may as well just start this. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We got Chris back. There he is. There he is. Chris, how you doing?
I'm right here. Oh, look at that.
Look at you.
I'm just trolling you guys. That's what's going on.
That was hilarious. That was absolutely. I am laughing on the inside as everybody else is, I am sure. But you got it working. Everybody, Chris has his own IT department. I guess as we all are these days, living in quarantine.
Yeah.
We're all used to this insanity, but here we are. We're here. Tech's working. We're going to get started. It's going to be a great show. Chris, I just want to say Happy New Year to you. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody else. Chris, would you like to reciprocate that to everybody else as well? Don't let me tell you what to do, but I know that's how you feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year to you all. I hope everyone had a happy and safe holiday season. I don't get too big on the whole, New Year resolution things, but look, it's all symbolic. Let's take this time to approach a fresh start with faith, positivity, and bright days ahead of us. Yeah.
Well said. I can't say it better than you. You honestly, you have the right words for the right moments at all times. But before we start, I want to say hi to P. Keel, first time lurker here, but I frequent Journo's channel. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you for watching. All right, guys, here we go. We are going to start today. We have some news. It's some really good news because, guys, we are 1 week away. 1 week away from WandaVision. How excited are we all? We are all very excited. And with that comes the very last trailer before the show. Next week, next Friday. Here we go.
Vision, we are an unusual couple. We don't have a song or even wedding rings.
Well, we could rather do that. I do. Do you?
I do.
Just moved to town, a regular husband and wife.
This place. I don't understand what's happening.
Look, it's the star of the show.
I'm sorry?
Wanda, can you read me? And they lived happily ever after.
WandaVision.
Oh, this is gonna be a gas.
Got to mute that part. All right, here we go. Tech issues all over the place. I am so psyched for this, Chris. How about you?
I can't believe we're finally 1 week away from this, man. I'm just, again, our first MCU anything for a year and a half. Oh, my goodness.
I know. And honestly, guys, we deserve this. Enjoy it. 1 week away. Some interesting tidbits of this series coming up. The show features original theme songs written by Frozen songwriters Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez. You guys if you weren't living under a rock, you definitely know the songs that they put together. Also, next week will be a 2-episode premiere. That's right, 2 episodes. We deserve this. It's getting started. Chris and I have been talking about this for a while. The floodgates are going to open up. Production started. They wrapped up the stuff that was close to being finished. There's a ton of stuff coming out this year. We've been through this all, but right now we are on the precipice. We are right around the corner of WandaVision. Also, be sure to check out Legends on Disney Plus, where, I mean, all of us are pretty well versed on these characters, but they go over and recap individual characters from the Marvel Universe, from the MCU, that will be featured in these shows. Legends on Disney Plus. They have one featurette on Wanda, the other one on Vision. Worth a while to checking it out. I saw both today. It's just nice to walk into this whole thing this whole experience fresh. And again, a week from today, we will have WandaVision. But speaking of the MCU, we have some more news too, Chris. Why don't you get into that?
Yeah, guys, we've been talking a lot about Moon Knight, and we have some sort of confirmation for Oscar Isaac, but is it truly official yet? The cinematographer for the show made a public comment. All right, I'm going to read this comment in quotes. Well, the secret is out. It's an honor to be part of introducing a new character to the MCU. Hashtag Moon Knight. Who says cinematographers worry about white costumes? Not if they are complex characters played by an amazing performer like at official Oscar Isaac. He said it to end his quote. He said, "Thank you, director Mohammed Diab and the MCU for inviting me aboard." So, look, I mean, this is a confirmation. Obviously, we're acting, we're tagging the actor Oscar Isaac in it. So I'm sure it's safe to say, look, I mean, I was already confident in the information that we have already had. This makes it even more confident. But and Jeff, I know you and I were talking about, like, still this isn't really from the horse's mouth yet. So we're kind of just sitting on our edge of our seats for that official statement to be announced.
Yeah, I mean, we're all excited to have a high caliber actor such as Oscar Isaac on a show like this. But this is not official confirmation in my book by any means. This guy is the cinematographer, right? He reports to the director, who reports to the EP, who reports to the MCU, who reports to Disney. So there's a whole bunch of levels here that have. It'd be like some huge corporation where a middle tier manager makes a huge announcement about their products. I'm not saying that Oscar Isaac will not be part of this show. More than likely he will. What I'm saying is, don't take this as official confirmation that he will be a part of the show. That's all I'm saying. But it's exciting. It's exciting nonetheless, because Moon Knight is going to bring a whole new, like, crazy dimension. That's seriously no pun intended by that. But it's going to bring a whole really cool dimension to the MCU that we haven't seen before. This character is very rich. He's not just a kind of cut and dry, kind of the Batman of the Marvel Universe. That's not him at all. We should be very excited about them getting on board a really good cinematographer. He's done a lot of really cool projects. He did Watchmen, which looked fantastic, guys. So the show is in good hands, but do not take this as official confirmation by any means. But speaking of official confirmation and Oscar Isaac, we got a little Spider-Verse sneak peek, Spider-Man 2099 look that was voiced by Oscar Isaac. That's right. In a tweet, shortly, I believe it was on January 1st, New Year's Day, 1 year closer to 2022, where we get a good look of Spider-Man 2099 from that. He was in the end credit scene. People were surprised to know Oscar Isaac provided the voice to the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse end credit scene. I was one of those people that was not aware of this at all. And they just sent out this tease. I think it looks really good. Let's get a closer look here. I mean, it's a little dark there for my taste. I would like to see a little bit more detail on the suit because he has that textured suit. But again, super exciting stuff. It's a nice official tease, but it's not confirmed how much this character will be in the film. But things to look out for when it comes to Spider-Man 2099. His first appearance, Amazing Spider-Man 365. This book it's creeping in there, guys. It's definitely getting more popular. We're going to talk more detail about this later in this show, but be on the lookout for this because this book is still readily available if you guys are digging through those long boxes, and we urge you to do so because you could definitely find these. They're only going to get hotter from here. Now is the time to start looking for them, as well as his first ongoing series, Spider-Man 2099. Early 90s issue. Plenty of these available, but again, they're going to dry up rather quick, Chris. What do you think?
Yeah, I have interest. We're going to be talking about this a little later in the show. I have an interesting situation that took place the last couple of days as well. So, look, this character I've always enjoyed. I read his original run, and Oscar Isaac, man, we talked about the ability of Oscar Isaac to fit into so many different roles. This is a role that I believe Oscar Isaac could play like in live action. He could be that character. He might be a little older for the role now, if that was to be cast in live action. But that just goes to show, I think, this is a great casting. I know we only got a sneak peek, but I really hope his role in the next animated Into the Spider-Verse is a big one, because I think it's going to be awesome.
I absolutely hope they expand his role as well. Bishner has 2 of those issues. I do believe he's talking 365, as well as Peter Thornton has one of them too. I myself have one, Chris. I'm sure you have at least one.
Yep.
2. There you go.
I have two, but I gave an extra copy each to my kids. So they're probably pretty beat up by now.
Well, it's really hard to muff up that high caliber 3D hologram kind of image. Kid Collector has 0, everybody. He has 0, so if you have any extras laying around, send them his way. But Kid Collector, if you start digging for those, I guarantee you're going to find them. But start digging for them now, because they're only going to become more scarce. Anyways, and Dan De La Torre has none too. Okay, you guys, seriously, if you don't have someone in 3 weeks that you got for $10 or less, let us know. Excuse me. Moving on, though. We're continuing with the Marvel goodness. Don't worry, we will get to DC, guys. We will get to DC, but there's been just more Marvel news here. Chris, what do you got?
Exciting, man. Guys, I've talked about how excited I was after seeing the Loki trailer. And look, the Loki trailer was enough, so it seems, to greenlight a season 2. Possibly, guys, because Deadline reported that a second season for Loki is on the way, and Michael Waldron will be returning to oversee the story for the season once again, because he is behind the writing of season 1. Waldron is also behind the writing of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So this guy is doing really big things. We, as the audience, haven't even had a taste of it besides the trailer. But look, this goes beyond this, because Kevin Feige, who we know was given a Star Wars feature film, pulled Waldron onto that project to write for him as well. So I'm talking about, we talk about trust in Feige, and Feige being the peanut butter on the toast, man. Is this guy the sweet jelly being added to it? Like, I don't know. We don't know it yet, but it looks like there's something sweet cooking in the background, and I can't wait to get a taste of a little bit of all this goodness.
Yeah, it's quite interesting here that this Michael Waldron, we're going to start seeing his work soon. I mean, they're not even done with production for season 1, right? Already got greenlit for season 2. He's writing, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, right? And he's tapped to write Kevin Feige's Star Wars. This is a Kevin Feige guy. Trusting Kevin Feige, trusting Michael Waldron. That's how I feel. I'm going to go in full trust. I'm going to do one of those trust falls, right? And I guarantee you, Michael Waldron will catch me, because that trailer looked amazing for Loki. Not to say that he had much to do with the writing of the trailer, but pieces of what he wrote are in those. Images of what came out of his mind are in those. So, guys, super exciting stuff, especially for the fact that we're going to have Loki as DB Cooper. If you guys don't know the story, DB Cooper, look it up. It's fantastic. It really happened. A dude jumped out of a plane and with millions and millions of dollars. Anyways, so yes, super exciting stuff from the MCU. But remember, Chris, when I brought up the fact that we were going to talk about DCEU?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why not end it on a down note with the first news of the year? Because DCEU, guys, we brought this up on our last show of last year, which is about a week and a half ago. DCEU is a mess. We want DCEU to succeed. We are fans of the characters. We love the stories from past. It's definitely, I definitely have great memories of reading DC properties. But DCEU, Warner Brothers, DC Films, whatever, cannot get it straight. And based on how Walter Hamada explained what they're going to be doing, it's even more of a mess. I think, Chris, we're going to probably break that piece off and just put it up online for you guys to watch if you didn't see last week's show. It's a mess. But here's something that's going on right now that's separate from that mess, that's just as messy. It's the ongoing feud with Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers. Or I don't know, or DC Films. I don't know where it's but it's going up in high levels. So yes, DCEU cyborg drama is what we're going to be talking about here. It's been documented that Fisher has brought forth allegations of abuse and racism from DC execs and DC Films President Walter Hamada enabled the behavior. Now, Hamada's contract has been extended to 2023. You can see why that would be a sticking point with Ray Fisher, who has not backed down from these allegations. And we take these allegations seriously. Anybody that brings that up, you got to look into that, right? You really have to look into that. But the fact of the matter is it has been looked into, which we'll get into in a second. But upon hearing about Walter Hamada's extension to 2023, Walter Hamada is the president of DC Films, Fisher's reaction was, it's weird how these reactionary announcements from WB Pictures always forget to mention that Walter Hamada was working directly with Jeff Johns and Tommy Emmerich on Shazam during Justice League reshoots. More soon, A is greater than E. As we all know, Jeff Johns and Toby Emmerich were part of the DCEU. Allegations were brought forth towards them as well as other people. So, yeah. From there, Warner Brothers had their own statement right after that. The investigation was conducted by an outside law firm and led by a former federal judge. More than 80 people were interviewed. We have full confidence in its thoroughness and integrity, and remedial action has been taken. The investigation has concluded, and it is time to move on. That was their rebuttal to Ray Fisher's statement. It's important. And then following that, though, guys, it's still not over, was the fact that it's been announced that the rap says that the cyborg cameo has been scrapped completely. So, as we last heard, there was going to be a cyborg, they're not planning on recasting Cyborg, and there is also a plan for a solo film. Where that stands, no one knows. Chris, DCEU is a mess.
Hot mess. And, I want to echo your point about any kind of allegations of any kind of behavior of wrongdoing, especially when it comes to sexual abuse, racial biases and prejudices. You have to take that seriously and look into it. But I'm just gonna put a question out there: could this be similar to like a Jesse Smollett incident? And for those that don't know, maybe Google it. Where and I kind of I've been a little bit hesitant to this whole thing and how this started. And how it's just kind of blown up. Could this just really be an actor that is just disgruntled for whatever reasons? Starting with the Joss Whedon basically, mishandling Justice League. And look, these are two different things though, but I'll give credit. Look, and I think this is why some of his cast members backed him up originally, talking about the Joss Whedon issue. From an outside looking in, I can respectfully assume, or hypothesize that Joss Whedon is a creator. Creators tend to have probably big egos, especially directors. They want to take control of a project, and it's their way. And most of the times they have the right to do that, right? But you got a situation where you're filming a movie with someone, and they set the tone. That person leaves. You get somebody in of of a high caliber like Joss Whedon, and he says, "Nope, we're doing it this way." And I can absolutely see how feuds can come from that and how it can be an unhealthy environment. But that type of unhealthy environment is not that it's right. It's different than accusations of these types of abuse, racial prejudices and biases and things like this. Completely different. So honestly, look, I wasn't there. I don't know these people. At this point in time, I have absolutely no idea who to believe, what to believe, or anything. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look good, it doesn't taste good, and it sure ain't good for the DCEU, especially with the mess of muddy water that they are already sitting in.
I hear that. Like, again, we don't know the facts, but you and I both said this. I think this was in summertime. This is not going to go away anytime soon, and it hasn't. It's it's 2021 now. Ray Fisher is still talking about it, and again, I don't know. We don't know the details. He could have every valid point, and he could have facts that are backed up. However, WB says that they've investigated it thoroughly, and there's nothing there. So the public doesn't know anything. But it doesn't seem like anybody's backing down from anybody, and it seems like action has started to be taken where there's not going to be a cyborg in the Flash, right? Is that because of creative, a creative decision, or is that an actual kind of like, you know what? Let's just move on from this, and we're not going to have Cyborg in much of anything until we get this figured out. Who knows? But that is our DCEU news, and that ends our news segment on a down note. How about it, Chris? All right. First,
it hurts. It hurts.
I know, but you know what? We're going to turn things around now because we have one of our favorite segments here, and that is the Cosmic Minute with Tom Tormey at Cosmic Comic History. You guys have to follow him on the Instagrams, Cosmic Comic History. Each and every day, early in the morning, he gives a juicy nugget of comic book history on Instagram. It's the first thing. I'm not kidding you guys. It's the first thing I look at each and every day. Gets me going, and I most of the time there are facts I was not aware of. Just like this one here, where we're talking about Hulk Hogan and the Incredible Hulk. Check it out.
Hello everyone, I'm Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and this is your Cosmic Minute. And today we're talking about some of my favorite things, comic books and wrestling. In the 1980s, Terry Bollea was making a huge name for himself up and down the East Coast as part of the wrestling scene. He was 6'7", 380 pounds of pure muscle, the ultimate male. While conducting an interview alongside Lou Ferrigno, people started to notice that Terry was actually larger than the star of the Incredible Hulk TV show. People started to refer to Terry as the real Hulk. By 1984, Terry had adopted a new last name to go with that moniker, and he became Hulk Hogan. He was even introduced as the Incredible Hulk Hogan. This was concerning for Marvel Comics. The two parties entered into negotiations to see if they could Iron Sheik out a deal. Marvel agreed to continue to allow Hogan to use the name Hulk under certain conditions. He couldn't use the Incredible Hulk. He became the Immortal Hulk Hogan. He couldn't use purple and green in any of his promotional materials. No problem. He went with yellow and red. Marvel was also compensated for every match, video, toy, movie, anything that mentioned the name Hulk Hogan. Marvel made over $600,000 in matches alone. This would continue for 20 years, or when Hogan left the sports entertainment industry. In 2005, Hogan was able to buy back his name from Marvel. The trademark now reads Hulk Hogan, property of Terry Bollea. Good for you, brother. I'm still Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and that was your Cosmic Minute. Until next week, be well and stay safe.
Yeah, that is absolutely fascinating. The fact that Marvel made $600,000 off of Hulk Hogan just using the name Hulk, like, because Hulk is a word. It was a word before it was, the green, the Bruce Banner, kind of, gargantuan, beast. It was just a word. See, the fact that they got a hold of Hulk and had Hulk Hogan pay them, or WWE or WWF at the time, that's just insane. Absolutely insane.
Well, you remember Paris Hilton trademarked what? That's hot. Are we gonna get ding now? Is she watching? Sorry.
Yeah, we got dinged already.
It's just crazy. It's crazy to think about words and how words can how entities can take ownership of words like that. So yeah, really, really cool. It's really interesting. I will say, and I watched wrestling with Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and whatnot growing up. I never was conscious of confusing the two. Like I didn't when I heard Hulk Hogan, I never thought of the Green Hulk, or when I heard the Incredible Hulk, like I never thought of Hulk. You know what I'm saying? Like as a kid, I wasn't thinking that. So
now that you bring that point up, it's so true. Like I always associated them as two different, I didn't think this way back in the day, but two different properties and intellectual properties. I didn't see them like, well, which Hulk are you talking about? The one that wears yellow and red, or the green Goliath? It's like, that's ridiculous. But anyways, that was fantastic. Follow at Cosmic Comic History on Instagram. You will not be disappointed. You will get some entertaining information that you may already know, but most of the time you probably will not, just like this. I learned this week. So Tom will be back again next week. Normally he's here and with us each and every week, but he'll be back next week for a brand new Cosmic Minute. All right, we're moving on. Chris and I get excited about this segment here because we like showing off our fresh gets fresh from the comic shop. That's right, each and every week, Chris and I go check out. We either have things mailed to us or we go to the comic book shop. We are very active hobbyists, and this week was no different. It was actually a really, really big comic book week for new comics. Chris always gets his mail, so his new books are a little bit delayed at times, especially in this COVID world that we're living in now. But that being said, Chris is always finding some good stuff, and I'm going to let him go first. Chris,
all right, all right,
from the comic shop.
So my first, my first books are 3 books that I'm going to show off together. And these are all books that I'm going to be giving away for my patrons on Patreon for my contest that I have on that channel. But so yeah, I'm just going to show them off. First one is Battlestar Galactica #1. I hit up A1 Comics, by the way. They had a huge sale. Big shout out to A1 Comics. I have a couple of issues of these. Got another one. I'll be giving that away. And I got a Fantastic Four #259. Just an awesome Doctor Doom appearance and cover. So I'll be giving that away at some point. And the reason why I picked this to show off today, because the third book in this lot is one that I picked up a bunch of copies over the last couple of weeks. And I actually picked up 2 more of these. This is Avengers West Coast 62. The first appearance of the modern incarnation of the Timekeepers. This book has gotten hot, guys, and I will be giving one of these away in a patron only contest, guys. So yeah, like I said, I picked up a couple more, but I'm only showing the one. These books right now, I've been looking in high grades, or there was I think a couple over $20, but you could probably still find a high grade anywhere between 10 and 20. And then plus shipping, of course. So yeah, I just thought it was cool to find these at a sale, and are some books that I'm gonna enjoy, giving away to some awesome supporters of the channels.
Okay, so that's a lot of the books you'll be giving away on your Patreon, right? Just making that clear. You should give them the info. We should have a lower third as to how to connect on your Patreon. We'll do that maybe later. Let's remember to do that. Everybody, sign up on Journo's Comics and Pop Culture's Patreon. All right, my turn here. Fresh from the comic book shop. My first book I'd like to show off right now. I got this I got 2 of these in a dollar bin, by the way. It's Ironheart #1. As you can see, this is her first series. All right, her first ongoing series was Invincible Iron Man, where she was the lead. But this is her first series as Ironheart. She became Ironheart in Invincible Iron Man #3. But again, this is the first running series for Ironheart. As we all know, she will be making her MCU debut. TBD, but they've already got the actress in place, and that's super exciting stuff. She's going to be hot. It's going to be this youth movement within the MCU. Super exciting. Haley Steinfeld is kind of be bringing that in as the next Hawkeye for that Hawkeye series. Again, I would be looking for as many Ironheart, Riri Williams appearances as possible if I were you guys. Jump on that now, because once they start getting going into production, they will become scarce as well. Christopher, what do you got?
Absolutely. All right, this next book is a character that I've been specking on, because I think we're going to see this character in the MCU. I love the character. Don't get me wrong. I think we're going to see this character in the MCU. We have seen a live action portrayal of this character. I wasn't a fan. And I think this character's story arc is going to be done right. And that is Rogue, guys. And this is Dazzler #22. This is her 3rd appearance. I actually picked up 2 copies. I'm just showing off the one, though. Decently high grade. This one's a little more beat up. It needs a press, though. But so this book, as her 3rd appearance, is actually, I do believe this came out the same month as a ROM book, because her 2nd appearance was in a ROM. I forget off the top of my head, 27 or 30, something like that. So that was her 2nd appearance, and then she appeared in the next month's issue, which came out, I believe, the same month as this. So I think it's argued what her 3rd or 4th appearance is. I mean, same month release, but otherwise still an awesome early appearance of Rogue. I got a couple of these for $1. So hey, this is, again, just like Jeff said, with anything Riri, if you could find on the cheap, I suggest any of these early Rogues, because keep in mind too, guys, although her first appearance in Avengers Annual 10 is obviously a key, she's not on the cover. Her first cover is that second appearance in the Rom book. And, you know, this is another early cover. So because she didn't get justice with having a first appearance and a cover, you know, some of these earlier ones with her on the cover, I think, you know, can definitely have room to grow for sure.
Yep, absolutely. She's one of those. It's going to be interesting what MCU does with the mutants, right? Because they're probably not going to go with the same route as we saw early in Fox, and they're going to be bringing in these I don't want to say lower tier, but like less known characters. Dazzler was in, I think, the last film or something like that for a hot second, but she could be one of those mutants that they just bring in because she has a crazy following. She was super popular back in the day. She has an interesting origin story that I think Tom Tormey got into on one of his little posts there that we have to check that out. I got to ask him about that. We'll get back to that. But anyways, all right, I'm going to be moving on to my second fresh from the comic book shop here. That is right. This is an interesting one, guys, because this could have some MCU play to it as well. This is Fantastic Four, number 13. It's a recent book, came out a year ago. Hulk vs. Thing fight, but this is the second print, guys. Second print, and only 1,400 copies were produced of this second print. Now, we all know the Hulk is still going to be involved within the MCU. We all know that the Fantastic Four is coming. We have the Thing, the Hulk. It is always popular for fans to see the Hulk go at it with the Thing. I guarantee we'll see something like that on screen, and that will be absolutely amazing. Issues like this, their first fight, subsequent fights as well, and low print runs are going to be the way to go. This is very hard to find. I found this in a dollar bin. Very lucky to find this. This is my second one I found in a dollar bin. You guys see this, pick it up because it's very rare. It's a sweet cover too. I mean, look at his, he's getting all his face knocked off. He's got a little glowing wedding ring. He just got married there, and he's got Hulk's fist in his face. This is the Immortal Hulk, actually. Super psyched to find that for the second time in a dollar bin. That's Fantastic Four, number 13. Christopher, what do you got?
All right, guys. I showed this off in an unboxing video on my channel. And again, this is a book that I have been really looking at for probably over a year now. And that's because of Dr. Doom. Most importantly, showing up in the MCU, and that's Astonishing Tales number 6. This is the first appearance of Doom meeting T'Challa, Black Panther, and of course, it still breaks my heart knowing that with Chadwick being gone, that we're probably not going to see a T'Challa in the MCU. Obviously, we are going to see a Black Panther. We are going to see a Dr. Doom in the MCU, and I think this is a decent, minor key spec book that can really do something, especially if we see these two face off, at least the Black Panther mantle. I think that's very, very feasible. I would love to see that happen. This was a nice book I picked up from A1 Comics. It wasn't on sale, but it was fairly cheap for the nice grade that it is in. And yeah.
Is that a Kirby cover? That Doom looks Kirby, so Kirby-esque. But that's a good call out, man. All of these like high profile first kind of team ups or fights or things like that, they're definitely coveted. You look at the first time that She-Hulk She-Hulk appeared in Incredible Hulk book, that's going for some high dollar value as well. So it's a very good call. And whether it be, I would think that Doom would meet a version of Black Panther over Kazar first, but that's a good call out, man. I really like that, and that cover's awesome, by the way. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a BWS, by the way.
Oh, Barry Windsor Smith? Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh God, his art is incredible. God, but he's going like with the Kirby style, isn't he? Let's see the cover again.
You're absolutely right. Even the body on T'Challa down there. But this is also the first appearance of Bobby Mockingbird, but not as Mockingbird.
That's a first appearance, and that's a pretty big first appearance. I mean, because they may want to retcon her into the MCU again because she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was kind of weak. But yeah. Bobby Morse, I think her full name is. That's right. I love that book. I absolutely love that book. All right, my next pickup here is it's 2 issues, but it's kind of like the same thing. So this is Nomad Girl Without a World 1 and 2. This is Ricky Barnes, right? She's the granddaughter of Bucky Barnes, and word on the street is that she may have a role in the upcoming Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. So basically in issue 1, we see her, we get introduced. I mean, she first appeared in Captain America 1 Volume 2, which actually we will be talking about towards the end of the show. But this is the first series, and the reason that these books are kind of hot right now is because the rumor is that this Ricky Barnes will become a version of Nomad in the MCU. And in issue 2, she becomes Nomad. So I found these each for $4.50. I figured they're very low print run. I'd say probably 10 to 15,000. And look for these guys. These are in your dollar bins. These are definitely out there. And I would pick them up now because we have March when Falcon and the Winter Soldier start up. But this has become a hot book because of that rumor, and I was very fortunate to just find that this past weekend. So that's my third entry. Chris, your fourth entry. Oh no, Chris, we lost you. Goodness gracious. Or is it me? I hope it's Chris. Anyways, I don't hope it's Chris. Oh, wait. There you are. All right. Fourth entry. Chris, we see you.
All right. So it's killing me. The internet doesn't want me to show off my books. I'm here now.
We got you. All right. What's your fourth entry?
All right. So I got a lot of, we talked a lot about Moon Knight, right, guys? So my next book, it was one that I was so happy to find in the grade that I found it in for the price $12. It's Marvel Spotlight 29, guys. This is the second solo story. 28 issue 28 was the first. So you can't get your hands on a first appearance or something like that. Hey, get an early appearance. This is a really nice, fine plus condition here. Very fine, close to very fine condition. Still got to put it in the press, but very happy. I mean, that cover is almost perfect there. So yeah, man, anything Moon Knight right now obviously is super hot. And to find that book for only $12, because that's another one that I've been looking at, online and in eBay and whatnot. And I just, again, another A1 pickup, $12. I'm very happy with
some
that.
gold there, by the way. And Chris had a recent pickup video on his channel. You guys should check it out. A1 looks like an incredible shop, and if I make it out there anytime soon, I will definitely like to stop by there. I'll be digging there. Anyways, here we go. My fourth entry. This is one I was really excited about. Super happy that it finally came out this week. It wasn't delayed or anything, but it was announced quite a while ago. And then after the final cutoff date to order these books, which I already ordered them, it was announced that there may be a tie-in to some Star Wars, a new show. So it was a big week for Star Wars this week in terms of the comic book world, because you had the release of Star Wars, The High Republic. That's right, everybody. This is 2 centuries before the Skywalker story. It's going to be brand new stories, brand new characters, brand new ships, brand new everything that's going to tie into this world of Star Wars that we see continuously grow. I was super happy to get these. My comic book shop hooked me up. I got cover A. I believe this is cover B. I really like this cover, by the way. This is the Hans variant, which seems to be the most popular cover. I don't know why. I like this cover a little bit better, to be honest. This one right here. But this is still a pretty sweet cover with Yoda. And then this is the 1 in 10 variant. None of those characters make an appearance in the book. But, again, super happy that I have a set here. And the story was really good too. If you guys are Star Wars fans, I absolutely encourage you to read this, because again, it's just opening up a whole brand new kind of world within the Star Wars universe. Super exciting stuff. Super exciting. Chris, you're next. This is your last entry of the week, fresh from the comic book shop. Entry 5. What do you got?
All right, one more here. I do want to say, looking at, I love that you grabbed all those. I don't even remember if I ordered one, because I did previews and it was like 3 months ago, and I don't get them till the end of the month. So I'm going to be kicking myself if I didn't grab at least one copy of that.
Yo, they've already gone to second printing, and they announced a third printing just yesterday, and the book came out Wednesday. So
Right, crazy, right?
It's definitely a hot book. People are really liking it, and it's getting good reviews. I suggest you read it. I think it's really good. Anyways, moving on. Your fifth book.
All right, guys, my last pick today. So I released a video, was it yesterday? I believe, talking about top books for 2020 to invest in, which are my personal, basically 2021 key book want list, right? And I jumped the gun first week of January. Before I even released the video, I knocked one off of that list. I was so happy. Again, another A1 pickup, a book that I've been hunting for a very long time. That's Miss Marvel, number 18, first full appearance of Mystique. And again, I talked about these early appearances of Rogue. You know, we got Mystique here, these X-Men appearances, guys, before they show up in the MCU. This is a decent mid-grade does a huge color breeze right there. So that probably really drops this down. I'm going to give it a press. It's going to look better after a press, but still, for the price that I got it, and for the grade that it's in, very happy. They had a really high grade one that I was like, nah, that's too much. They had other ones that were cheaper that I'm like, nah, that has, like, I think there were like dried up boogers on one, and I was like, I'm good. I'll spend $10 more and get this copy. So very happy to have this. Again, another one, Mystique. I actually enjoyed Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal of Mystique. But look, talking about Rogue, Carol Danvers, and Mystique. Those three need to be in the MCU because their story arcs correlate so much. And because now we got Carol Danvers there, they could be done right.
We're going Rogue. We're going Rogue. We're going to get Rogue in the MCU. And hopefully we see kind of an adaptation where it's similar to what we saw in the comics, because she got her powers from Miss Marvel, now Captain Marvel. So that'll be very, very interesting. That is a sweet book, Chris. First appearance Mystique is hot. They have to have her come back as well. All right, here we go. Here we go. My final entry, my fifth entry of the week, in fresh from the comic shop, is Star Wars Adventures number 16. That's right, number 16. I was online in a message board. I remember people talking about this. And I'm just going through the Star Wars stuff at one of my local comic book shops and ran into it. I come back and I read how rare this book is, and I was kind of blown away. You can't really find this on eBay. One really bad copy just sold for $50. I got this for $4.50. This is the first appearance of Sith Lord that gave me the info. Embo the Bounty Hunter, who was in Clone Wars. I do remember him. He's in the top left here. But also Kaz Ziono of Resistance, the show, which is next on my list. I haven't seen Resistance yet. I just finished Rebels, which was fantastic. But anyways, this is a highly sought after book. First appearance of Ziono Kaz and Embo the Bounty Hunter. Embo the Bounty Hunter being right here. So I was really happy to find this. People were kind of like, whoa, can't believe you found that. And I did. Super happy about that. So that is fresh from the comic shop. And Chris is moving his location because his internet is not doing well. But this is a very important part of the show, right? Coming up, we have a very important part of the show. It's something we do every week. It's Kid Collector's favorite segment. But you know what? First of all, speaking of Kid Collector, I need to bring up a comment that he just brought up here. As Chris sets up, I'll let him set up here. Chris, or Kid Collector, what is going on? I just saw you say that you bought 55 issues of Amazing Spider-Man 60 or 55. Is that correct? 55 issues? Where is that? Goodness, I cannot find that anywhere here. But talk to me here. Talk to me, Kid Collector. What are you doing there? Who else? I saw a question here from Isaac. What is your local comic shop that you always hit up? My main local comic shop is Royals of Astoria. It's in Astoria, New York. I also there's a Midtown outlet that has amazing dollar bin books where I found this. But the Fantastic Four I found there as well. I found that Ironheart, that Ironheart 1, which is the second print, which is extremely rare. 1,000 copies were only produced of that. So those are the two shops I can walk to that I hit up most of the time. So anyways, Kid Collector, I don't know. I have no, yes, sir. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. 62 issues of Amazing Spider-Man second print. That's a beautiful looking book right there. The red and it's, instead of the web being white on black, it's red on black. It does look beautiful. Yo, man, I really hope that pays off for you. That's definitely taking a gamble, and I'm really glad you're doing things like that. You really impress me each and every time you talk about your knowledge and all that. So good on you for that. Guess what? We got Chris. You're back. Chris.
Yeah, sorry, I did a little booty shaking in front of the camera. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some tips from that. I don't know, but
we didn't have you on air, unfortunately. I knew that was coming up, and I wanted to spare everybody from that move. So, but anyways, here we are. What do we got next, Chris? We have one of our favorite segments, and the one that Kid Collector loves so much. It is our. Hold on, I got to get the banner. Hold on, everybody. Cover Price Top 10 Hottest Comic Books of the Week. That's right, the top 10 hottest comic books of the week. It's a list that Cover Price releases every Monday. Our show is live every Friday. We like to just go through the list really quickly, the top 10, and then Chris gives you the top 3 he has, the top 3 most interesting books from this list. Each and every week we do this, and there's a running theme from last week's, right, Chris, that we're going to ask if people can see.
Yeah.
What this theme is. It's 2 weeks in a row, people.
Yep.
Keep that in mind when we start talking about. But here it is. Here it is, the top 10 hottest comics of the week for this past week. All right, at number 10, we have Ultimate Team Up number 5, the first appearance of Ultimate Nick Fury, aka Sam Jackson. Number 9, we have Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes number 29, second print. It's the first appearance of War Widow. Number 8, we have Spider-Verse number 1, the Walmart sealed exclusive variant. At number 7, we have Spider-Man 55, the Virgin variant cover. That's probably more rare than the trade variant or the trade cover. At number 6, we have Mighty Avengers number 13, first appearance of the Secret Warriors. At number 5, we have Amazing Spider-Man 365, the first appearance of Spider-Man 2099. We talked about that earlier in the show. I think we're going to be talking about that a little bit more. At number 4, Nomad, Girl Without a World, number 1. You guys saw that. I actually picked that up this past weekend. Happy I ran into that. At number 3, we have Captain America, number 1, the first appearance of Ricky Barnes. She is Nomad, a Girl Without a World. At number 2, we have Captain America, number 1. It's the variant cover. And at number 1, we have that beautiful cover. Amazing Spider-Man 55, one of the hottest books we had the last week of this past new comic book day of 2020. Chris, quite an interesting list here. Quite an interesting list. Am I right?
Marvel is just killing it. Yeah, like you said, 2 weeks in a row. Very diverse stuff for Marvel, though. I will say, right? So I went through it. I was pretty confident with my picks, though, and I got to start off my number 3 pick with our favorite Spider-Man, and that's Amazing Spider-Man number 365, the first appearance of Spider-Man 299. Obviously, we talked about the Oscar Isaac news and the animated Into the Spider-Verse 2 and whatnot. This character continues to get hot, right? This book saw a 129% increase in sales. Check this out, guys. 9.8 sold for $265. That's solid. Now, okay. This is what I was talking about a little bit earlier when I was like, I'm gonna talk about something, the situation unfold, right? So I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and a lot of for sale Facebook groups. And, you always get those people that, they post like a dollar book from the 90s and ask like $200 for it or something crazy, right? And you got to call those people out. You got to call them out. But here's an individual that posted this book with all the other 30th anniversaries, the red web of, the green spectacular. They had this one, and they also had the gold variant of the McFarlane Spider-Man number 1. They were asking $100. And these were, I didn't look into depth, but they were near mint. I mean, they weren't all beat up, so I'm sure they were very fine near mint copies, right? No newsstands, all directs. And they're asking $100. And then they even dropped the price down to $60, and they were still getting bullied in the comics. Laugh emojis. You're asking $60 for those books. dollar bin books, they're worth garbage. I'll give you $2. Ha ha ha. Did you add an extra zero there? And I'm like, oh, and one of the person was like, you should do your research before you price books. I'm like, isn't that ironic? You should do your research on the price of books before you go harassing somebody for how they're pricing books, because you look pretty stupid. So here's the thing. Outside of, in that gold variant, Spider-Man #1, I mean, that's easily a $20 to $30 book and a near mint. But this book, guys, is Amazing Spider-Man 365 is no longer your standard few dollar, $5 back issue book. You can, you're probably going to find a near mint copy of this, the direct. At this point in time, good luck finding it under $20. That's going to be my rough estimate. If you get the newsstand, that's a whole nother story, but I'm not even going to talk about those. We're talking about the direct. So when you get a 9.8 direct edition selling for $265, it says something. The fair market value for this book over the last about a year is over the $200 mark. I believe it's around $216. So guys, again, this book in near mint condition, especially even raw, is not no standard back issue book. I'm extremely excited that this book is getting as popular and as hot as it is, because I love Spider-Man 2099, and I want to see this one keep climbing.
Yeah, I remember when this came out, I bought it off the rack. I had it it just faded away, And now, after that end credit scene in Into the Spider-Verse, it was like, whoa, that really got people's attention. And then this tweet on January 1st from, the official Into the Spider-Verse Twitter account, boom, right there. So I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it come into play as well. And, I'm sorry, I got to go. These comments you guys are killing me with these comments. P. Keel brings up a good point. Amazing Spider-Man 365 is prone to spine splits from the factory. It's also, a majority black cover, black and silver. So you're gonna really kind of see that wear. So it's gonna be hard to find a book like this in a solid condition. So, but I'm telling you guys, they're out there. Kid Collector says he has every one of these books in the top 10 except for that one. You're not going to have to search that hard, Kid Collector. And let us know when you do find that, because I guarantee you, if you start going out to shops, be safe, obviously. When you do, I wouldn't be surprised if you ran into one. So keep looking. All right, moving on though. Your next book, Chris. This is another interesting one. Another interesting one you thought would never be here, as did
it's hurting my head that I even have to talk about this. Okay, look, guys. Okay, so I picked this book. Okay. I am not one of those Rob Liefeld haters. I'm not. But guys, my second book, Captain America #1, the volume 2, Captain America #1, volume 2, 1996. Oh, Rob. Good old Robbie. We love you. Now, this one's not horrible, this cover, but just his work. I mean, look, we all can have our issues with his work. I mean, there you go. His work on this run was probably some of the worst work I've ever seen him do. Garbage. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm not one of those Rob Liefeld haters. I'm not. I give him credit where credit's due. But it sucks that the artwork on this run is so bad, because for one, I collect Captain America. I have a whole first volume, and I have almost all this volume, except for maybe 2 issues. And it's a solid book. The reason why it's on the list and why it's my #2 pick, because it's the first appearance of Ricky Barnes, the granddaughter of Bucky in continuity. And there is speculation around her character showing up possibly in Falcon and Winter Soldier in the MCU, and that's dope. I like that. I like that they could utilize that character and that this character is getting hot, but it's just, it kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth to even talk about this book, just because, just for me, I'm sorry, the art was so bad. But hey, I mean, it's getting hot, guys. 349% sales increase and a $249 CGC 9.8 sale. $250, guys. It's crazy. Just the art, and I'm an artist too, so art means something to me. And I'm sorry. Like, I don't care how hot a book gets. If the art is horrible, it's going to turn me off.
Yeah, here's the thing with this too. It's interesting. This is a part of Heroes Reborn, and that was a huge initiative for Marvel, even though it was late 90s when they were starting to go in their decline almost into bankruptcy. I would imagine that there are a ton of these issues out there. Like, I would imagine that the print run was very high. People are really buying into the fact that Ricky Barnes will be in the MCU. She will be Nomad. She will have her own series. That's another thing that they're saying, is that she will have her own series. So, you know, again, the market is dictating this right now, and it's a hot book. It is a hot book. So it's very interesting. I never thought I would see a book like this on the top 10, let alone the top 3. It was literally, you know, what was it? It was number 2. Number 2.
And the variant. And the variant was up there too.
Yeah. So anyways, all right. But we're going to move on.
I do want to say one more thing, because, you know, and we talked about this before. Sometimes these books can make the top 10 list, but it doesn't mean they're skyrocketing in price. They're just selling a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've had books make the top 10 and they're still, you know, $5 books. $250 for a 9.8 for this, though? That price is going up, and it's surprising, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it'll be I guarantee. Well, who knows? I can't guarantee anything. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this book goes leading up to March when the series is released. All right. Moving on, though. Your final book, your third book that you picked from this list that you find most interesting, and I think everybody else will too.
Yeah. And, you know, if Kid Collector really caught that many copies of this book, guys, I'm still waiting on mine from my mail subscription mail order in the mail. Who knows what grade it's going to be after it gets beat up by the USPS. But my number 1 pick, obviously, Spider-Man number 55, guys. What a beautiful cover. You know, the version variant was up there, but obviously the standard cover was number 1 on the list. It's my number 1 pick. It sold so many copies, guys. And it's beautiful. It's very, very unique. You know, when you look at the art, it's so unique that I can't like when you look at it, I can't believe something like this hasn't been done really before, or at least not to my knowledge, you know. So very, very happy for this book, guys. A $200 9.8 CGC sold, and get this, $200 for a raw version variant. But the thing with this book that just excites me is that it shows you that art matters and covers matter. Like, there are collectors that truly care about beautiful artwork. And I'm all for that. I am all for that. So, like I said, I do have mine coming. I did order a few copies of the second print, which is the red variant. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but I don't know. I might be liking that one more than this one. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I like them both equally, but, you know, anyways, I mean, hands down, I definitely think this book absolutely deserved to earn this top spot. You know, I don't know how much of this value it'll hold. I'm sure a lot of the books that are being bought are from people that are going to flip them. But I know that a lot of people are buying them and are going to want to go grade them and slab them, hoping to get that 9.8. It is an all-black cover. Might be a little tougher to get those 9.8s. But I think this is one that over time is going to, you know, command a bit of value always. I think this is going to be an iconic cover for a long time. But $200 for 9.8, you know, I don't know if that'll hold long term. So, but still, awesome book.
Here's what's, in my opinion, what's going to happen. Everybody ordered this heavily. Everybody's getting them shipped in the mail. They're starting to come in. They're, you know, the day after they were released or the day of, they were going for quite the price point on eBay. I think it's going to dip, but it'll start climbing back up because this is one of the most iconic Spider-Man covers of all time. And that's a lofty thing to say. Exactly what you said, Chris. You're surprised nobody has done this version of it before. I'm just as surprised about that too, because it is beautiful. And to have it come up with, I was lucky enough to get 1 copy. I'm very happy. Now here's the thing too. In the story hasn't been that great. This run hasn't been that great. I think we talked about this last week too. And I don't like if there was a new character introduced in this, then it would be like Amazing Spider-Man 300. That's an iconic cover, iconic character, that kind of thing.
Right.
Something happens at the end, which is like, really, did it really happen? So we'll have to see. I actually didn't pick up the next issue. So anyways, But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll see if it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was in there next week. Like, you know, what wasn't in there here this week was Daredevil 25.
Remember though, I said it was a mover. It was a mover. I checked on it was a mover on Monday. I know that in the daily movers. So because I think when you asked me last week, I said it's not going to be in it, but we'll probably see it pop up in the dailies. So hey,
you absolutely called that. So anyways, that is our top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of Cover Price's data. We will have a brand new list next week, and I guarantee you it will be just as interesting. But now we are moving on to Q&A. You guys have had some amazing comments that I'm really having trouble scrolling through. So, because I think B. Schnur brought up something about the MCU having stinkers, like in terms of like released movies, and they got back on track. They've never, compared to DCEU, where they could get back on track. But Marvel has never had some really bad moments where they.
Who said that? Who said that?
Find it. So while I'm looking for it, talk about this wonderful depiction of Captain America by Rob Liefeld. Yes, somebody asked. Actually, Kid Collector asked if this was real. It's real. This is real. This is a real page from the book that we were. I don't know if it's the same book that we were talking about, but this is infamous here because the proportions of this body is unbelievable, and the fact that an editor allowed this to go out Chris, explain to me what's going on here, please.
All right, so look, I know Rob Liefeld had to go to art school or take some art classes. I don't know his history, but he had to. And I don't care if you're not the best at anatomy. I have no idea what you are doing here whatsoever. None. This is like, dude, like, I can't even, you asked me to describe, I can't even put words to it. I can't. This is the worst piece of art that I've ever seen. And look, I don't usually get like vulgar or anything, or nasty, especially on this show or my channel, but I'm going to say something, guys. Like, you can honestly take a piece of dog shit and smear it on some paper and it'll be better art than this. This is just horrible.
It's really bad. All right, here's the thing. I was just trying to waste some time here. I cannot find that comment, but there is an interesting comment here. Dan De La Torre has an interesting comment about the DCEU, which you guys are killing it with the comments. We got to get a moderator in here because I cannot keep up with this. So basically, Dan De La Torre brought up a point in terms of the top 10 hottest comics being dominated by Marvel. This dovetails with why the DC movies can't get their act together. Marvel has too strong of a base with better stories, artists, and writers. Dan, well said, 100%. They know what they're doing here. They are not a mess, because I didn't think this 6 months ago, but now you're starting to hear things about the publishing arm of DC and rumors about them going, physical copies going out the window. They're not going to be producing physical copies anymore. Things like that. But it is a mess. They've laid off a ton of people. It seems like their only titles that they're pumping each and every week is Batman. Future State's here now too, which I didn't get my books from because there was some crazy shipping order. But they are having problems with their publishing unit as well. Marvel has their stuff together right now. They got their shit together. And here's another thing why they have their shit together. Just as Feige has really kind of spearheaded the MCU and put it into a position where it is now, he's taken over, months ago, within the past year, he's taken over the publishing arm of Marvel Comics as well. So they are working seamlessly together. So Dan, this is a very good point and one that can't really be overlooked in that. There are some independents that are doing really well too, but DC is a mess all around, guys. And we do not want to see them fail. We do not. I'm speaking for Chris and I, but also as comic book fans as a whole, you got to have that competition. You got to have each publisher pushing each other and doing great things together, because otherwise they'll just get complacent and just put out shit. And we'll probably end up buying it, but it won't last long.
I'm not mad at what's going on with DC in terms of the comic book side of it, though. And then I talked about this a lot on my channel. I don't know if I actually have yet, but I talk about it a lot in Facebook forums. I don't think people really understand what's going on with the restructuring with DC. Now we could talk about the DCEU and Warner Brothers and that being a complete mess, which I agree. But I think and I really don't think they have foundation. I think what they're doing on the publishing side, though, is building that foundation. So to that point, though, and Jeff, I agree with you, and I agree with the sentiment that Dan spoke of. But they have the difference here is that in a time period, say from 2010 to now, comic books were in a really weird, awkward state, right? You started to see some success coming out of the 90s. You get into the 2000s, you have the independents coming out loud saying, look, okay, we don't have to just do the superhero genre, but comic books are here to stay. Then you have the Civil War event that said this is modern storybook telling or comic book telling, comic book storytelling, excuse me, and it boom, it catapulted the industry. You get into the 2010s and there's a little, you get new collectors coming in, you get old collectors wanting to stay in, or maybe they're heading out. We don't know. You get cultural ideals, kind of, button heads and all this stuff. And you get writers and bases that are trying to tend to this, that, and this. Marvel has seen such success under Kevin Feige in the film franchises to where they took that and lapped it back over to the comic books. But why they did that, they did a lot of similar things that DC's doing right now, which just didn't get talked about as much. There was a lot of restructuring. There was layoffs. There was cutbacks going on in Marvel as well, right before and during Feige taking over the comic book aspect of Marvel. But because of the success of the MCU, they were able to transition that much more quietly, much more successfully to now. And we talked about this in the past as well, Jeff, that the way that comic books are going to be written and the way that movies are going to be made, because over the last 10 years, you saw Marvel struggling to take from the movies to bring to the comic books. Now we're going to be taking from the comic books again and bringing them to the movies. Mm-hmm. No. With DC, though, they don't have that leg to stand on with the DCEU properties. So what they're restructuring and what they're doing specifically with the comic books, they're kind of on their own legs and they're having to do that on their own. So having confidence in that process, I can understand why it's a bit harder to do so. But I'm still confident in the restructuring of the actual publication of the DC comic books. And I think there is going to be a much brighter future because I think that the corrections that DC is making are at least a decade overdue.
I'm not confident. And here's why. There's two differences here between Marvel and DC. Marvel is owned by Disney. It's a content creation company. They create content. They understand how that's created. When they made the move to put when Kevin Feige moved into that position to oversee the comic books, that was under Disney. You know what? DC is owned by AT&T. They are all over the place, right? They are all over the place and really don't have a clue. The fact here, there are a few things that stand out to me in terms of the moves that they made that are disastrous. They laid off a ton of people. Do you know when they laid off a ton of people? Right before their DC fandom. What's the timing on that? Why would you do that there? You're about to announce all of your high profile projects that are coming out. You do that a week beforehand. That shows me that you have no fingers on the pulse of any kind of business decisions that you're doing. Yet AT&T probably needed to make some cuts. Again, the timing is everything with all of these things. And putting people in a strategic position to do the things they need to do to succeed is important. AT&T doesn't understand how to do that from what we've seen, especially with the track record. Again, another example to point to, the track record of the DCEU, all under AT&T. Again, they do not trust the creators enough to create. They do not have a person that they trust enough to be that Kevin Feige. Was it Zack Snyder? No, he's a director. He's getting his hands dirty creating the films. Is it Jeff Johns? No, he doesn't have the experience to be producing all of these big time multi-million-dollar productions. So those are the two distinctions I see between them. And until AT&T has enough trust to let the creators create, they're going to continue to be like this. And it's very unfortunate because these are iconic characters that have resonated with all of us here, all of us watching this, all of us who watch the films, all of us who read comic books, you have been touched by any one of these characters, and it pisses me off actually.
I think your argument though, you're overlapping the comics and in the film franchises. That's what I got from that. You're really connecting them and combining them. Where I'm looking at it from I'm separating those two, because I agree everything you said right now, correlating to the DCEU and Warner Brothers, I agree with. But I do disagree with taking that same sentiment and statement and putting it to their comic books. Now, you talked about timing with the layoffs. Okay, maybe. But again, you have DC fandom, which speaks to, I know it's more of a broader thing, but it really speaks to the DCEU. When you have, look, you've had DC, they rebooted with New 52. That didn't last long. They rebooted with Rebirth. Rebirth had a spike, but then sales dipped. And you have fans saying what's going on here? You're not writing for the fans anymore. It's not making sense. I don't. Again, this is where I'm at. I don't see these cutbacks. When we look at layoffs, obviously we see them cut and dry is a bad thing. Anybody losing their job is bad, right?
Yes.
But you can't think like that. We can't think on a human level. You got to think on a business level, right? If your job is a business, is to create a product or a service to be the best that it can be while maximizing your profit, sometimes and a lot of times that takes things that look ugly to the public, which is layoffs. Let me use an example. Starbucks. In the late 2000s, Starbucks, and get this, Starbucks had huge growth in the late 90s and early 2000s. Huge growth. They almost grew too fast and they stumbled over their own feet. In the late 2000s, they started closing stores. They laid off a ton of people and they suffered losses in profits over the next few years. But after a few year period, they started seeing their revenue grow, and it started growing more than it ever had before. Their stocks boomed. And then during that time, they restructured their whole culture and business model. Part of that thing was they went fully fair trade, just to add. And now they've opened about, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I think it was like over, it was, what's the word I'm looking for? An exponential increase of new expansions and new stores next to what they closed during that time. So again, that's an example to say shaving off the fat in order to take money and revenue, put it into, again, quality over quantity, right? How many, and I've talked with you about this, Jeff, too. How many collectors are complaining about $3.99 books or $4.99 books? We have all of these books coming out, you know, hundreds of issues. I don't know how many DC title has, what, 80 a week? I don't even know. I'm just throwing that out there. $4, $5 a copy. Oh, the writing's crap. There's too much of it. It's all garbage. The stories are whack. Okay, why not shave the fat, cut all that out, fire some of these authors that are or writers and artists that are making comic books that aren't selling, restructure, tell stories that people want to hear at price points that people are willing to pay, and give a better product than what you have been doing, while at the same time restructuring a business model that actually works for the evolving comic book industry moving forward.
I agree with that, but I was not connecting the publication arm to the film arm of DC. I was, what I'm surprised at is they're a mess in the publication right now. They're a mess in the films, and basically their track record. You just said it. Like, go looking back to the New 52. It was successful for a little bit, but then they just like, we're gonna do Rebirth now. We're gonna do this, and a lot can be said about that. But the fact of the matter is, in my opinion, any of the moves that they made, the layoffs, they were more of a business decision than creative decision. But the business decision isn't clear as to what their business is going to be and what their strategy is going to be. And again, AT&T is not allowing the creators to create. They're not putting their trust into the creators to create the product that you want to buy. So again, I don't have much faith in DC, and it's really waned in the past 6 months from what we've seen. Fandom was exciting, super exciting, more probably for their film slate, which again, now has, basically Hamada kicked us all in the nuts with that in his New York Times article. That makes absolutely no sense what they're doing. But there could be some cool things coming out. Wonder Woman was, honestly, man, the more distance I had from Wonder Woman, it was a hot steaming pile of shit. It really was. That third act ruined everything for me. I digress. I'm getting too granular here. AT&T, they do not run DC or DC very well, and I really hope things change there. I really do.
I say my closing statement is I am actually very optimistic for the publishing side of it. I am. I think that what's happening right now with DC should have happened 10, 11 years ago. Now, once that's done, will they come out the other end? And to your point, have the proper people in the proper places? That's still yet to be seen. But I think the decisions that they're making right now are long overdue. But you're right. You have to trust that once this is done, it wasn't for nothing to where they're just at a starting point again to start not learning from past mistakes, right? So, and I'm absolutely 100% on board with you though on the film side of it. That's just I am almost at a point where I don't even have any comment towards it anymore, because my understanding of what they're doing with the DCEU and their films is basically my understanding of what Rob Liefeld's thinking when he's drawing Captain America. So,
what are you talking about? Like this?
Yeah.
Anyways, we got some good comments here. P. Keel, I'm old and DC was a mess before I was 10. That's interesting to know. I really have never noticed, how much of a mess until recently. There's also Isaac Maina brings up a good point. All right, now it's early for DC. They just recently made these cuts, so we'll see in the coming future what we just need to give it some time is what he's saying. Kid Collector has a very good question here. Do you guys think Marvel will become lazy since they know their competition is not so good? That's what we're talking about, potentially becoming complacent. However, Chris, you go.
Marvel's greatest competition is themselves. Hands down. And I believe if you ask Kevin Feige, he'll probably say the same thing, that their competition is themselves and getting in the way of themselves. And so I don't think so, because they've been going at this for, especially with the movie side, for 13 years now. So I think that they will stand strong. And look, hey, if DC gets on their feet, whether with the films or the comic books again, I think it's just at that point, then you have that healthy competition. But I don't foresee any area, at least at this point, with any laziness or any real foul decision making happening.
Yeah, Peter Thornton brings up a good point. I think Marvel has so much content they can't fail unless they shoot themselves in the foot. It's not that the content that they have is why they can't fail. It's how the quality of the content they have. And you said it, Chris. Their biggest competition is themselves. You look at any athlete out there, that's what drives them, is to be the best. They put that on themselves, and Marvel does that too as well. They are pushing the boundaries in the world of film. You look like a film like Doctor Strange. I'll be honest, I'd never seen a film like that before it came out. Just the psychedelic, crazy, just visuals. Those are the things that they do. Comic books, P. Keel again brought up a good one. No, Marvel's looking to gain more viewers into the next generation. That's why they're coming out with these kind of refreshed characters, new characters. They follow along the same lines as older characters. Yes, Miles Morales, Riri Williams, fine, but they're getting hot. These are characters that people are really kind of attaching to, especially to bring in that youth movement with storylines, but also youth movement like people like Kid Collector. So. It's super exciting for Marvel. I really wish we could say the same thing about DC. We can't though. We can't, and it really is upsetting. And actually, I'm pissed off about it. To be honest with you, I'm really pissed that they cannot get their shit together, and AT&T can't get out of the way to allow for this property, this $1 billion property that they own, that's DC Comics. They can't get out of their own way to be able to create amazing things. That's that's it. So that's all I have to say about that. Hold up, Jeff. You ever see Pinball Wizard? You talking about the Who? Love the Who. I don't know if you're specifically talking about. Oh, maybe he's talking about Pinball Wizard as a character. It goes to show you how great. I gotta say, Sith Lordly. I gave you props earlier today. You gave me info on that Bento, the bounty hunter. Anyways, just saying what's up. Thank you, Sith Lordly, for joining us. Chris, anything else you want to talk about? Because we're about to close out our first show of the year. It's been amazing. We got amazing comments, amazing people watching. Really so appreciative of you all. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, so great. I love the interaction. I love when you guys interact and really dive into the stuff. And I think this year, again, I said this for myself on my channel. I'm going to say for Jeff and I here on Comic Book Canon. This is going to be a big year for us to keep doing what we're doing, to keep getting better at what we're doing, and keep being here for you guys to keep being here for us and supporting us. Jeff, I think I'm taking the words out of your mouth. Highlight of our week, right? It's so awesome to be able to do this. And when I get off of this show tonight and I call AT&T and yell and scream at them for the 25th millionth time,
for another reason, you're not talking comic books or movies. You're talking
no, for my internet service, right? I'm going to say, AT&T, get your act together with DC, and also fix my internet. Right? It's just it's crazy because when I was before the show, I'm having all these issues and I had to reset my modem, and I'm like, AT&T, you're messing with my livelihood. I'm not thinking, oh great, I can't distance learn with my students tomorrow. I can't do my Comic Book Canon show. So that shows you how much this means to me and to us. And man, first show of the year. I appreciate you all. I hope that you guys stick around for the long haul. And I know, Jeff, I'm going to throw this out there real quick. We have some contests that we're going to be rolling out soon with Jeff. I may talk to him a little bit when we end the show here. I want to let you all know it's going to definitely involve getting some subscribers, getting our viewership up. So guys, please, if you support the channel, you support it by just being here. But if you can, continue to support it by sharing, spreading the word, sharing it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, telling a friend, whatever the case may be, watching with your spouse, with your kids. We would really, really appreciate it because we appreciate all of you guys. So
we absolutely do. I see this question. I don't want to leave without answering it. So real quick, we'll answer quick. What do you think of the new Future State DC? Michael, I ordered it. Okay. I was supposed to pick it up on my shop on Wednesday, but there were delays. So again, I may be shitting on DC right now, but I do love the characters and I do want to see them succeed, as evidenced by me being into the Future State. I got the new Wonder Woman, both of the Batman titles. Cannot remember what else. I didn't get all of them. But I'm excited. I want to see what they got going. Hopefully that'll refresh and restart some things here.
Yeah, I don't get mine until the end of the month. I think, Jeff, maybe we should do a segment just on Future State once we read some of the issues. And then we can really dive into it because I think it all depends on the storytelling, man. So I can't wait till I get my hands on them and read them.
Absolutely. So maybe by this time next week, Michael Carter, Chris and I will both be able to talk more about it. Maybe we'll do a segment on it next week or probably thereafter. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys had a great New Year's, great holidays. We really appreciate you guys all for being here, spending your time with us and talking about the hobby that we all know and love. We will be back here again next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, every Friday for your Comic Book Canon Fix. Chris, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure to share this show, hosting duties with you. All right. Until next week, everybody. We'll see you.
Peace.